Hey guys, it's Emil here. I've been asked by some friends to give them some feedback on their Kickstarter campaign. They put up a draft and I went to look at their campaign, and instead of only giving them the feedback, I decided that I wanted to share this feedback, so hopefully you will find some interesting stuff as well. Okay, the first thing I will look at is the text. Where can I optimize? Not so much the wording itself, because I'm not good at writing, so I would definitely get someone else to write it, and preferably someone who knows the English language better than I do. But the thing is, I will look for where can I optimize the text visually. And here's a really good example. As you can see, Battleground is on the 5th line, and if I could rewrite the sentence so that Battleground would come up here, you would have 4 lines and you would save 20 pixels. Well, 20 pixels may not sound as much, but if you can do this 10 or 15 places, then it get a lot in the end, right? And here you can see it again. War is just taking up 20 pixels more. And here is another example where I would definitely say it's not necessary to elaborate for people that 32,000 possible teams it means that you don't have to play the same team twice. That I think people can understand from just saying how many combinations there actually is. So if you cut out this part, you would save and save one line, and it would still be very easy to for people to understand. And again, you're using dots here, so it's definitely better to keep it as simple as possible. And here again, 20 more pixels. Okay, here we hit the miniatures part of the campaign. And the thing that I look at first is that it says miniatures here, and I can see some of these renderings. And right up here before the miniatures, I actually have two fully painted miniatures. I think it would make more sense to put these down here and then scrap, one of the pictures of the rendered 3D models, because you have a lot of those, and maybe you want to save some of them for updates anyways. So definitely try to save some space, not just plaster it all with 3D renderings. And another thing here, as you might have noticed that all the pictures have a name down here, and it's a thing you can do in the Kickstarter campaign editor. You can put in names on the pictures, but I would preferably put the name in the picture itself, mostly because it would save me, again, maybe not 20 but 15 pixels, whatever, something like that. And you would have it in the picture, so if people save it, then they can actually refer to whatever it is that they have been looking at. I think it just, you're just cluttering up the space with a lot of text. So put it somewhere where it doesn't take up more space than you already have, because as you can see out here, the campaign is very long. Here's another example, 2 lines where you could edit it so it's 1 line, that's for sure. This part here is which is in conjunction with what's in the box, is really nice. I really love this overview. It's super crisp, and it's easy to understand that everything here comes in the box. At least I feel that way. So here are the stretch goals. I really like the artwork here as well, and the graphics it's been put on. It looks super crisp. And I also like the fact that there's actually not that many stretch goals. Like I think it would be a gamble to expose yourself for like having a million stretch goals and in the beginning where you haven't even reached your initial goal. So that's always a balance, but this year definitely looks really nice. Okay, let's continue down here. We have the why pledge now section. That's becoming more and more standard for new project creators, at least. Optional rewards. This is apparently something you can buy in addition to your game, or just buy them separately and pay for some shipping and then get some cool miniatures. That definitely looks nice as well. There's a crap ton of miniatures. Okay. And now we get to heroes, and this is part of the gameplay mechanics. It's some components, and I can see it's how you actually, it describes some components. This I think we're getting too much into details here. Like we are talking about some gameplay, actually some very minor things, like the tank has a lot of health and limited movability, and warrior is offensive and blah 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 blah. I think people can read that in the rules if they want to. It's really taking up a lot of space, and furthermore it comes directly underneath miniatures, so you could accidentally think that this is something you can buy together as something optional or whatever. And you might say, oh, but why do I think that? That's because if I go below here, there's some demigods, description of demigods and so on, and then there's shipping. Shipping is a cost, and it's related to the cost. I would put that up next to, or below, of course, below the last thing that is related to cost, which would be, in this case, would be the optional rewards here. The thing is that if you split up, you also have the box content here, which is also money related, or then you split it up with something which is related to the total funding. You have something of wide pledge now, and then some optional rewards. You should definitely structure it so that you put the optional rewards up below the box content, and below the optional rewards you have the shipping, because these three things relate to cost. That is what backers need to think about when they're going to pledge for the game. Splitting this up will drive people insane, because they will be hunting the page back and forth for finding where's the shipping and where were these things I could add to my game and so on. And then put gameplay mechanics and gameplay in general, put that in the just link to the rule book, and maybe link to some flyer or whatever you want to create that describes a few selling points, or describes some things that is interesting to know about the gameplay. But I think up here in the start you were talking about the gameplay. Okay, here we have some selling points, and they work because you need to know how many players and how long the game lasts, etc., etc. But you don't need to know that the tank has a lot of health. Yeah, that doesn't relate to anything that will make me pledge or not pledge for the game. And the same, of course, for demigods. It's a neat concept and it looks really awesome. So of course you want to display it somewhere, but it's mixing up the layout of the campaign. Because here's shipping, but I was just reading about the heavy crossbow. Like, they're not related and they should not be put together. At least that's my opinion. Okay, then we have our team here. It's always nice to put a picture of who is actually behind this. But here are some things that I don't think works. Putting our partners is fine. Putting the name and then put a link, but you don't need to sell anything for these people. It's enough to just put a link. I think it's too much to write about these guys. People can explore that for themselves. Again, it takes up a lot of space, and you can write whatever you feel about them, but basically it's what they do that defines how successful they are and how high quality things are. It doesn't make it so because you write something here. So at least that's my perspective. Our oath to you. Yeah, if you have some special things you want to write, that's fine. That's also, these things here is probably something you could translate into some reasons and some explanation you want to put under risk and challenge, because these things definitely represent an answer to some challenges or some risks, and fair pricing has its own risk and own challenges, and all stretch goals included. Well, if you stated that in the pledge level, I don't see you need to write that again. So I would definitely try to take it away and put it somewhere else, or write it into something already existing, because again, the campaign page is becoming quite long, and you don't need it to be that long. Okay, and I talked about removing these names from here and put them up in the picture. I also think there's enough pictures that people understand the high quality that you're aiming for. So if you have a few pictures and then maybe take some of these pictures here and make them smaller and put them next to each other and just make them as a link so people can open it and see some high resolution picture, because again, they're taking up a lot of space, and I can see after watching the first 3, 4, 5 models that, okay, this is a high priority for you and they look super cool. I actually don't need to see them all in high detail here. It would be fine to have some links, or better yet, to have a Dropbox where you structure some renderings and some illustrations and things people can get from you, for free, just to explore whatever you have done to make this game awesome, right? Okay, let's take a look at the pledge levels. As of now, there's 3, and I really like how simple that is. Although of course it doesn't give the full picture of how simple the fulfillment will be, because as you can see here, you will be able to add optional rewards, and I guess you can do that for this and this one as well. So while it will be easy for people who are going to pledge for it, it is probably a bit deceiving for a project creator to think this will be an easy fulfillment, because that's probably not the case. I don't know, but I have a pretty good feeling about it. Okay, the first thing here is you write that this is the access for optional rewards, and I assume that's because it's the worldwide shipping. So what I would do is I would make a $1 pledge level where I would put the digital art book and the digital storybook. If you're going to do them anyways, you might as well give them for $1 and get people in, even those people who's just going to look at the campaign or just pledge because they like the artwork or whatever, you know. Get as many people involved as possible and give them something in return. $10 for the art book and digital storybook. Yeah, maybe it might be a bit too pricey if you don't know the scope of the books. But you know, I don't know how that is. But if you put it up as a $1 and call it the stories or whatever, then you can just write here access to optional rewards plus stories, whatever, you know, refer to the $1 pledge level, and remove something like this. At least that's what I will do. When it comes to pledge level, I don't want to put emotions into my pledge levels. I know there are some campaign creators who write a lot of goofy stuff here, and I'm going to write your name in the sand and whatever, and give you a big kiss and whatnot. But when it comes to pledge levels, I want them to be super concrete. You know, they only need to describe what people is actually going to get. So if you plan on doing something else for them, or write their names on your wall back home or whatever, you can do that and surprise backers. But you know, keep it to what you are 100% certain this is what they're going to get, and don't write goofy stuff here. That's what I would do. And I know this is a very small thing, but it's just me. So and that if you remove this and put these digital art book and digital storybook up in a place, then you would be able to cut down the size of this reward and make two rewards which would take up around the same amount of space. The $100 here for the Demigod Black Edition and Demigod Red Edition, and as far as I've understood, the Black Edition has this sleeve which has some mature art on, and of course some people might not want that, so you can order it without the Red Edition, and that's super cool. Actually, I would probably make sure that I've described perfectly what exclusive means, and since you refer to whatever is in the pledge level here by Demigod Black Edition, Demigod Red Edition, both pledge levels contain okay, there's some spelling error there, but it contains whatever is here. So whatever these two contain, it's written below here. Super duper. I would refer to them up here as Black Edition, Red Edition, and not write a whole lot else, because it really gets messy, and it's so easy to mess up some of the wording. And if you write bonus somewhere, bonus content, and write exclusive content in another place, you know, people just get confused. And suddenly you have 16 additional hero miniatures and hero cards, but you don't write up here what the base game contains. So if you write what the God of War miniatures, this bonus content contain, why don't you write these things here? So don't write any of it, remove this here, and maybe just write Black Edition, and then write node special box sleeve. Boom. Okay. Including print and play. Yes, super. Writing when it will be accessible? Probably not, because you have a delivery down here, and writing things that is not within this scope, giving people things that before time, that's just super cool. But if maybe you won't be able to give people the print and play upon campaign completion, so then you will already be failing on your delivery, on your promise there. So if you don't put it, you will surprise people. If you do put it, you have locked yourself doing something within the time frame. So I've done that mistake myself, and it took me 2 or 3 months before my print and play was ready, and not right after the Kickstarter completed. So I have bad experiences with actually putting some extra dates on. So. Okay. Other than that, I like the setup here. I don't know if it works the same on the mobile. If if it screws up having exactly these amounts, then just make sure to check it before you launch. That it's actually also looks nice on the mobile and other devices, whatnot. Okay, I think that was the pledges, and in general I think that was what I have for the campaign. Of course, there's probably some spelling errors and other errors I haven't looked into, but I just wanted to point out the things that I really do like the artwork and all these visual things. It's super sweet. And the things that I would optimize in order to make it easier for people to overview your campaign as a whole, and hopefully convince them to back the game. So that was it for me, and I hope you can all use it. Hopefully you got some tips you can use for your own campaign when you're creating that. So until then, have a super time gaming and creating new campaigns.